Good morning, everyone. I have visitors, not just humans. Looky there. Hank, say hi. Oh, I'm tired still. Hank is my son's dog. He's a three-legged dog. Did you actually see? Let's see. There he is. Let's see. Hank, hi. When he lost his leg, I took care of him afterwards, and we took my granddaughter and I, my oldest granddaughter and I, took his stitches out. He has never forgotten that. Huh? They were staples, actually, lots of them. And he just laid there, and I was really careful, right? Hmm? Yes, he loves to come visit the farm. And gosh, how old are you now? About 10? Let's see, no, 8. You're about 9 years old. 9 years old, I would say. 8 or 9. And he's always had skin problems, and my son spent so much money on this dog. And just recently, about maybe a year ago, he finally got together with a vet that figured out what was wrong with this dog, always been wrong with this dog, and put him on the proper medication. I think it had something to do with a thyroid or something that weren't working right, and that had him get lesions over his body and his hair. And of course, you always think about that's all skin stuff, Turns out that's not what it was. So he's been on this medication now for several months, and he looks better than he ever has. He's got hair, first of all, beautiful hair all over his body. His tail, who mostly was without hair, has hair all over it. He looks so beautiful. His face that used to look just kind of, now it's like, it's a totally new Hank, our three-legged dog in our family. Just wonderful. And you can tell he feels so much better. And yeah, yes. Anyway, so my son's still sleeping upstairs, so I have to be a little quiet down here. It's an amazing thing here in this, where we live right here, where we built our home. You can't quite tell where a sound is coming from on the outside. You can't. It's like a surround sound. And any sound that happens out there, unless you're looking right at it, is, if it's out there farther away, it's like a surround sound, and you think it's coming from down there, but it's actually happening over here, or you can't quite pinpoint it where it comes from because of the surround sound that we got going on here, which is really interesting, isn't it? Our house on the inside is so open, still, that you can hear everything. Yeah, everything that's going on pretty much. So I have to keep my voice down. I have no doubt my son can hear just about every word I'm saying. I'm surprised he hasn't yodeled down yet. Yeah, Mom. Anyway, so we started yesterday in his room, and yeah, it's another walk down memory lane. Some of it good, some of it not so good. Yes, interesting. And hey, yeah. How can anybody have so much stuff accumulated? And he's like, yeah, Mom, this isn't the only place. There's a couple more places. One thinks of people that keep everything, or not hoarder type, but whatever they come across, this, that, or, okay, right. It's as if it is a hoarder kind of situation. So, my gosh, why can't you just? But if you look at the person, you also have to say they're very conscientious about what people give them, right? On how they care for it, how they keep it, even if to keep it a sign of respect, a sign of, okay, I was given some love in a way. I had a good memory in a place, given love by someone through something. So he has a lot of posters up there and things like that from festivals and things like that. And he just looks at it and goes, yeah, yeah, remember? Oh, man, that was, yeah, But why do you still have that? It's just in a box. Been in a box for years and years. And, yeah, well, yeah. And then he thinks of someone, so I got to show that to someone, or I want to give that to someone, right? Yes, okay. It's said it's we can look at a person just say, man, you just got all this stuff. What for? And not realizing, right, on how the person's actually being really respectful and appreciative to the love that the person has received from someone else through something little, something a little bigger. Right? Do you know what I mean? And to give love back, even though the other person kind of doesn't know that, is by holding on to something, keeping something, right? Reminisce over something. Yes? All right. Well, does that one have to do that with? Right? We found one little jar that were full of receipts. Right? He says, look, Mama saved the receipts. I said, do you still need them? He says, no. He's all right. Yes. Anywho. So it's been interesting to do that with my son too. And and again, right? Yes, he's my son. Of course, who knows him better than I do? Dare you? and and yet still doing this with him together. I'm seeing a whole other side of my son again. So beautiful. And yes, what can I say? Right? All right, let's get going here. That's all I have to say. I wanted to say something else, but I don't think I need to say more right now. Yes. All right. That's 2 Samuel 15 we are in. Now here it starts. Absalom, I don't know. I had some respect for you. Not necessarily the continued what you did, but Absalom's intrigues. After this, Absalom procured a chariot and horses with 50 men to run ahead of him. So this is right after the king kissed Absalom. Okay. The father embraced the son again. This is now what he's doing. He would get up early and stand beside the road leading to the city gate, and whenever a man with some lawsuit had to come before the king's tribunal, Absalom would call out to him and ask, which town are you from? If he answered, your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel, then Absalom would say, look, your case is sound and just, but not one of the king's deputies will listen to you. Absalom would say, oh, who will appoint me judge in the land? Then anyone with a lawsuit or a plea could come to me, and I should see he had justice. And whenever anyone came up to him to prostrate himself, he would stretch out his hand, draw him to him, and kiss him. Absalom acted like this with every Israelite who appealed to the king's tribunal, and so Absalom won the Israelites' hearts. Okay, so what I just said, I read the first Absalom's intrigues. Who wrote this in here like that? Okay. And what's Absalom actually doing? So again, so what? what if it were to say, rather than intrigues, Absalom's care for the people of Israel, for example? We would be reading this completely different than with the overhead Absalom's intrigues, wouldn't we? Can one really be unbiased when you only know part of the story? Or, as I said, we're definitely being led here, right, to, oh, so now he's taking the people away from the king. What kind of king is David, actually? Let's be honest here. And Absalom, in a way, has a very just heart. It's just, you know, it's the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of thing, yeah. Not quite according to God's guidance when it comes to and how you deal with people who have broken the laws, right? Yes? So, what's he doing? Look, you're not going to be heard. It's not going to matter. They're going to decide according to what benefits them the most, not according to what kind of justice you should be getting. Right? So Absalom, in a way, is going in the right direction. Right? Yes? Though again, he's all pulling it into himself. God's nowhere mentioned here, where Absalom could say, I'm going to try and implement God's laws again. Yeah? Not the laws of men, the laws of God when it comes to justice. And in any case, but it's working. The people of Israel, sounds like to me, if this is true, are very starved for some proper attention. And Absalom seems to be giving them proper attention, isn't he? If the people are happy where they are, and things are being taken care of properly, then the Israelites would have told Absalom, well, I don't know what your problem is. No, I know I'm going to be heard. I know I'm going to be taken care of. So what's your problem? But that was not, according to this, that was not the case. So again, but Absalom is regarded as being intriguing, right? His intrigues that he's got going on, something scheming, yes? Just saying. Right? It seems like the Israelites, there's a lack of care for them from their own king. Yes, and the people that he put in power as judges. Yes. Absalom's rebellion. Okay, there you go. When 4 years had gone by, Absalom said to the king, allow me to go to Hebron and fulfill the vow which I have made to Yahweh. Which was what? For when I was in Geshur, in Aram, your servant made this vow. Oh, okay. If Yahweh brings me back to Jerusalem, I shall pay my devotions to Yahweh in Hebron. The king said to him, go in peace. So he set off and went to Hebron. Wait a minute now. What's in Hebron? Is that where the covenant of the ark is now? The ark of the covenant? Is that? Why would he go to Hebron? Oh, there was something there, wasn't it? Ooh, I can't remember. Ooh, I missed something here. I can't remember something that's kind of important. Now, also after 4 years, again, how is this Absalom's intrigues? So the king had no idea about it. He knew that Joab had kind of influenced the woman to tell that lie about the story about her sons, right, because of Absalom, right? He figured that out. He knew that. Yet here's his son now after 40 years of, and the Israelites really loved him because of, and sure, the rumors made the rounds that, hey, we're not taken care of by who King David put in place, but his son's really taking care of us. He would be if he were taken in power. And So King David doesn't know anything about that. So okay, go ahead. I wonder after 4 years that's not been addressed. So well, maybe it's going to come later. Absalom sent couriers throughout the tribes of Israel to say, when you hear the trumpet sound, you are to say Absalom is king at Hebron. With Absalom went 200 men from Jerusalem. They had been invited and had gone in all innocence. Oh, that's it. Nobody kind of caught on to what he's doing in a way. Unaware of what was going on. Hey, you can't tell me that. Absalom says, what? Okay, so let me ask you, all the men, at 4 years this has been going on. Hey, I'm just going by what they wrote down here and how they wrote it down, okay? So 4 years this has been going on and nobody caught on. So are you telling me that the Israelites, when it came to the men and the elite and all that, I'm sure these weren't poor paupers invited, okay, 200 of them, what, they're all dumb? Their intelligence level, their IQ level is what, 0? Just asking. Okay, all right. Unaware of what was going on. Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor from Gilo, his town, and had him with him while offering the sacrifices. I can't answer that right now. The conspiracy grew in strength since Absalom's supporters grew in number. So, and David's counselor, okay, you know what I'm hearing through this, okay, is that there were a lot of people not close to David as the king, commoners, people close to David the king, like this counselor, not happy with that king. Just hang up. Oh, my brother-in-law is coming home. David's flight. A messenger came and told David's flight. A messenger came and told David, the men of Israel have shifted their allegiance to Absalom. David said to all his retinue then with him in Jerusalem, up, let us flee, or we shall not escape from Absalom. Leave us quickly as you can, in case he mounts a sudden attack, overcomes us, and puts the city to the sword. The king's retinue replied, whatever my lord the king decides, we are at your service. The king set out on foot with his whole household, leaving 10 concubines to look after the palace. Really? The king set out on foot with everyone following, and they halted at the last house. All his officers stood at his side, all the Cherethites and all the Pelethites with Ittai, and all the 600 Gittites who had come in his retinue from Gath, marched past the king. The king said to Ittai the Gittite, why are you coming with us? Go back and stay with the king, for you are a foreigner. Huh? Oh. Indeed, an exile from your homeland. You arrived only yesterday. Should I take you wandering with us today when I do not know myself where I am going? Go back, take your fellow countrymen with you, and may Yahweh show you mercy and faithful love. Ittai replied to the king, as Yahweh lives, and as my lord the king lives, wherever my lord the king may be, for death or life, your servant will be there too. David then said to Ittai, go ahead, march past. And Ittai of Gath marched past with all his men, and with all his children too. The entire population was weeping aloud as the king stood in the bed of the Kidron, and everyone marched past him and making for the desert. What? I said, there's more going on here. There was more going. If this is a true story and not just a fairy tale, or one of Grimm's fairy tales or something, then this, how is this making any sense? Did you guys just? I mean, I can usually read and get have a sense of a thread of the continuation of the words going on. This was really what? Here's another thing too. Don't we know what the names of all the 12 tribes of Israel is? There isn't one tribe of the Israelites here. Sounds like it. I could be wrong. Just saying. None of them sound familiar. Well, who are these people? And then here he talks to one that's actually a foreigner, not part of Israel, but acknowledges him as the king and God as well. This Ittai. Right? Where are all these people coming from? So I find it interesting on how, wait a minute, that's an interesting part. Where did this Ittai come from? Where did all these other people come from? These other tribes that are considered foreigners, yet they are here serving David and are all acknowledging God, right? They're not backing down. They're not, well, I don't know. Looks like God hasn't given any other directions except to follow David, rather than now turn to Absalom, who, okay, do you know what I mean? It's interesting. Why are we not hearing more about that? Well, okay, so David went on all these crusades. That's what they are, and kind of absorbed some of the other foreign tribes into Israel, right? Yes, and kind of they were witness to them about God. It seems like there were some really, really faithful followers. Yes? I found that interesting. Anyway, the rest of it, he leaves women behind to take care of the palace. Well, it's most likely, Absalom wouldn't kill his own mother or the women he kind of grew up with. Yeah. I mean, they're all Israelites too, right? Oh, not all of them, but okay. Did he leave kids behind too? Probably. It's just not. It's so weird, so odd what was going on. Okay, the ark is left in Jerusalem. Why bother with that, right? Zadok was there too, and all the Levites with him. Oh, look here, the Levites carrying the ark of God. They set the ark of God down beside Abiathar until everyone had finished marching out of the town. The king then said to Zadok, "Take the ark of God back into the city. Should I win Yahweh's favor, he will bring me back and allow me to see it in its tent once more. But should he say, 'You displease me, here I am,' let him treat me as he sees fit." The king said to Zadok the priest, "Look, you and Abiathar go back quietly into the city with your two sons, your own son Ahimaaz, and Jonathan, son of Abiathar. You see, I shall wait in the passes of the desert plain until word comes from you bringing me news." So Zadok and Abiathar took the ark of God back to Jerusalem and stayed there. I wonder where Nathan the prophet is in all this. And here they got the Levites. How come? I don't use perfume or anything, but I smell a distinct smell of flowers on a grave. I just had that now. Oh, wonder what that was all about. Now I'll find out. Now that I've been having this feeling somebody's someone I know, someone maybe close, maybe, or it's okay. I can't. but I just got this whiff, and my nose doesn't smell a lot anymore. It seems like it with very selective sniffing going on here with my nose. Anyway, acknowledged. Yeah. So the arc goes back. What I can't. I I don't know what to say. This is so, it seems like the whole story here with David, his wives, his sons, his whatever, it's become such a tangle that one can't find. You can hardly find anymore. What am I supposed to think of this? How am I supposed to, what are you doing? Why are you not? Okay, so Absalom's doing something. He's got the love of all the Israelites suddenly. Sounds like it. The king's fleeing. It's not like he's going, well, I got to go and talk to my son. Everybody get ready. Surely, as the king, he would have his retinue should be greater than Absalom's. Within 4 years, Absalom managed to get more people together to stand behind him to what? Now, infighting going on. Have a civil war with his own father? I'm just asking. And why would Absalom feel so hateful towards his father? After he just, I mean, was the one who's, well, I want to meet you. You're my father. Even set Job's fields on fire. Then goes, right? Bows to his father, and then his father embraces and kisses him. Now, okay, what is that all about then? And here suddenly, okay, right. Well, that's all part of his plan, and that's why he's the rebellious son. Really, is it? There's such a tangle going on here. It seems like everybody's hearts is just messed up. Their hearts and minds is not functioning anymore. And why is that? Well, look, David's sending the ark back. Why? Take it with you. It's your best counsel. Right? No, he sends it back to see if he could see it again. Why is he doing that? That's like abandoning the best guidance that he's got. Right? Yes, I can see how other people would see this. But that's my okay, that's it. It's a mess. Seems like a mess to me. All right, last part here. Hushai is briefed to work for David. The heck is that now? David then made his way up the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went, his head covered and his feet bare. Here we go, another show. And all the people with him had their heads covered and made their way up, weeping as they went. David was then informed that Ahithophel, oh my gosh, what name is that? How do you say that? Ahithophel was Ahithophel. Well, a P and an H also makes an F. In my language is a lot closer to the Jewish language than English. Ahithophel was among the conspirators with Absalom. David said, I beg you, Yahweh, turn Ahithophel's advice to folly. Ah, dear me. So, David, why don't you go talk to your own son? No, he went, oh, dear me. What kind of a father was he on top of that? Okay. As David reached the summit where God is worshipped, he saw Hushai the Archite, his friend, coming to meet him with his tunic torn and with earth on his head. David said, if you go along with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you go back to the city and say to Absalom, I am at your service,
My lord king, once I was in your father's service, but now I shall serve you. You will be able to thwart Ahithophel's advice for me. Surely the priests Zadok and Abiathar will be with you. Anything you hear from the palace, you must report to the priests Zadok and Abiathar. You see, their two sons are there with them. Zadok's son, through these you will send me word of everything you hear. Hushai, David's friend, entered the city just as Absalom was reaching Jerusalem. Wow. Which brings me to something in the divine principle, or what true father from true parents uh, has been stressing or been teaching about, and the people now are taking this in a complete wrong direction, just as people always do things like that. What I just read here, again, I have more knowledge, don't I? I have, okay, not me. I have gained more by reading more in the time that we are in. We're not in the Old Testament, we're not in the New Testament. We are in the completed testament, okay? Now people can say, what? Da, 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 da. Well, go read the divine principle, learn about true parents, get done, okay? I'm not going to say more about that. It's just as it is. Just as it was when the Old Testament, right, was replaced by the New Testament per se, right? Yes? And the Old Testament just became history. Jesus was here. Well, at that time, it was the same thing. It's like people most likely who, like me now, believing in true parents, believing in God's lineage that has been established on earth through the marriage of the Lamb and the divine principle, right? That's kind of all that you need to read anyway. There's a whole lot more going on. That's like the father-son relationship kind of thing. That then, if you have more, right, if you read more, then if you know more, okay. Peacemakers. A lot of us are called peacemakers, most likely to, okay, let me explain this actually, where True Father came out with this and why. But it was the same thing at the turn from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Yet to this day, there are some people, okay, from the Old Testament that believe in the Old Testament, don't believe in Jesus as the Son of God. Really? Just saying. So, what did we just read? What did I say? There's a knot. There is such a knot in all this. What is this? How did it come to be that this father and this son have this kind of relationship with each other? There isn't one. There just isn't. It's kind of, oh, okay. A little epiphany going on here with all this. And True Father and his youngest son had a really amazing relationship. And the younger son then was kind of, in a way, okay, symbolic to me, mostly, put in place as the heir, okay, of the whole kit and caboodle, which is fine, who cares, right? But due to the fact that True Mother's still finishing up her path, the son, when the father passed away, though he's united with his father, can't unite with his mother. Right? Yes? So in a way, the same tangled mess is going on there now with whom? The mother and the son. So in a way, True Father, restored the father-son relationship. Right? Well, one could say that Jesus did that with God. Okay, a little bit different, you guys. Right? Yes? As it is in heaven, so it shall be on earth. Ah, you see? Okay. I'm a bit flabbergasted by this, just reading this and saying, and understanding, aha, this is what's happening here. This is also why what is happening now, right, with true parents, with their children, with the divine principle, how people use, right, things that true father has said, for example, with the father-son relationship, which then, for some, that means that it over trumps the mother, the wife. Yes? That's not true. Not if you know the Ten Commandments. Oh, but you just said, okay, God's laws, though a lot of it from the Old Testament, God's laws don't change. So the Ten Commandments apply to the Old Testament, the New Testament, the completed Testament. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Right? Just as, now from the New Testament, the Lord's Prayer still applies to what? The completed Testament. Yes? Yeah, there are some things you don't get to change. It doesn't matter, right? In the Old Testament, it was one man and one woman as a couple, wife and husband. New Testament, it's one man, one woman. I mean, one man, one woman, not one man, several women. That goes for the women too. Right? One divorce after another, this and that, Yes, we're still working on that. I'm just saying. The law is, God's law is, in the Old Testament, one man, one woman, if you believe in the Bible, Genesis. Yes? One man, one woman, one husband, one wife, as a couple together. Yes? New Testament. One man, one woman, one husband, one wife, as a couple together. Completed Testament. One man, one woman, one husband, one wife, as a couple together. Yes? That's it. That's God's law. That was God's law from the beginning. God's law, that's the perfection in mankind. To then have families, children, raise them properly, this and that. Don't you think? Now, you may think, again, people go, oh, so I what? In the principles of love, that applies to everyone. Everyone. As a man or as a woman, that is what applies. What happened in the Old Testament when people weren't happy with God's word? You invent your own, don't you? Yeah, that's what they did too. Did True Father have it all together? I shared this, what Confucius had said about mistakes and forgiveness. Difficult path. True Father walked a very, very difficult path trying to figure out what's right. Yes? So, the father-son relationship in Samuel 2 Samuel, David's path as a king was completely destroyed. Not just with Absalom. How about Amnon? What kind of an example was that father to Amnon? Huh? Yes? What about his other sons? Does he have any kind of relationship, good relationship with any of his children? Doesn't care about his daughters. We already know that. It's interesting. I find it interesting to read the Bible like this. Like today, I'm coming across this, that father-son relationship is completely destroyed. Every which way the father goes. It's not just Absalom. How about calling it David and Absalom's intrigues? And then
David and Absalom's rebellions against each other as father and son. Do you know what I mean? It's like here David sends who to go and observe who and pretend to what? To his own son. Well, David, he's running in fear. Right? And again, it's putting on a show with walking around half naked and ashes on his head and weeping. Weird. It's just weird. But anyway, I know I sound a little bit disjointed because I have to tell you, this is like, I saw a good one this morning that says, what's today? What is the first thing God did for you? And I thought, man, let me think. Well, what do I choose? And I just woken up, and kind of leaning back in the bed and looking to see if there were any messages or this or that. Oh, let's go look real quick what my friends are doing. You know. And this came up. Yeah. And I went, okay. Well, one of my friends had said on it that, oh, he let me wake up this morning. Yeah. One thing God had done for her. I'm going, well, yeah, okay. Now, right? So I waited. I didn't say anything. I thought, oh, I'll wait a little bit. So there must be something really. What did God do for me? The first thing he did for me today. Give me some enlightenment, in a way, some understanding on what is happening right now with the infighting that's going on. What? Among God's people. Again. And why? I need this information. To do what? To try to unite the people again. To teach that, look at the similarities here. What are we doing? And how do we fix it? What's the solution? That's what God just did for me. A little while back while I was reading this and then going, hey, wait a minute. What's this father-son relationship here? What did true father do with his youngest son? But what's going on with the mama now? And the son? Oh. Mother isn't running. The son ran. Oh, okay. All right. I said what I had to say. Okay. To add on to this, okay. If you want to understand this better, I said, go read the Divine Principle, read up on True Parents, read the good stuff, okay? I mean, when you want to read the bad stuff, go ahead too, you know, again. Either be guided or be influenced. Right? Have a talk with God, right? Yes? Say, please guide me in the right direction on where Daniela wants me to go with this. Or where you feel is actually the right way to go, right? Regardless of what she says, right? Yes? Okay, right. Better that way. And then, you know, this might make more sense. Yeah, I'm very worried about the division going on. It's not a good thing. It's a very, very bad thing. Right? There was another thing with okay, when it comes to the restoration process, you know, where God shows us little things, you know, like look. Think on how I am included in things, or where I would want to be included as God. Okay. And there was yesterday some guy with his horse in our little town here in Hazard, about 10 miles away from here. Went with his horse to Tractor Supply, and have no doubt he stood out there and said, "Hey guys, can I bring my horse in? I want him to pick the bucket I need to buy for him."
And I have no doubt that he did not just walk in there, right? That he asked first. And the employees there, they're wonderful people. They are so helpful. They're knowledgeable and yeah, okay. Most of the time, always really friendly people to be around and okay. And they let him. So he walks in with the horse to go and look for a bucket. And he, sure enough, I know that store really well. We go and get some of our supplies there for the animals. Walked right where the buckets were there. They didn't show which one the horse chose, though. I want to know. But I look at this and I look at the post. How the employees said, yeah, we don't have any rules against horses being in the store with their owners. And I thought it was hilarious, and so did all the rest of the people that were in there. What a peaceful kind of scene with something that, okay, wow. And I thought, Father, that would be a store you'd be, right? Shopping in. That you would be actually present with the people, wouldn't you? And he answered, yep. Because it's also a store you go in, and I had never walked into this store. I can't remember ever walking into the store and not engage someone or being engaged by someone to talk about our animals, their animals. Right? And always pleasant, very pleasant give and take with people. Maybe it's an animal lover thing. I don't know. But I thought, wow, how the restoration? Where can you, as someone that cares for the world, really, with the little that I have, what I can do, and okay, again, alert, positive output, show the flip side as well. Right? Then, wait a second, I see from the Old Testament to what's going on in the completed Testament, on how there's still restoration going on. Yes? Yeah. Well, the Son can't just have that great relationship with the Father. Yeah? So that's restored. What's the next thing? Huh? You show the same unity with your mother. Yes? Okay. Instead of doing what? Huh? Ooh. Well, it looks like we have a little bit of a restoring Absalom going on, too. All right. Yeah, where are you going with this? I know where I'm going with it. So looking at that picture and the story that went with it, about that guy with his horse at Tractor Supply in the store looking for a bucket. What's the horse to pick the bucket it favored the most? It's a little thing, isn't it? Yet, when you think what the people, so many, are all about out there, yes, so many different places in the world, just all we need to look at is our own country here in the United States. And you see a scene like this that's happening so peacefully, and everybody's just gets a kick out of it, more or less, right? That's restoration right there. A tiny little bit. Or you can say, betcha God was a part of that. I bet he loved it as much as the rest of us did. Right? I always consider that the reward, right? If I pay attention, yeah, the visible rewards for my efforts. Yes? Ah. Oh my gosh, Father, I love you so much. My heavenly parents, I love you so much. I don't know how people live without. Don't know. I have no idea how that works. people are happy with that, well, but if you're not, give it a try. You will never regret it. Never, ever. That's all I have to share this morning. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, my goodness. I'm all ready to go and work with my son some more on the room. Yes, gotta go to the bar first. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you. And I will talk to y'all another time.